Have you ever looked at a building and just felt that it worked? And then looked at another one and thought, what were they thinking? Well, the secret isn't usually about the budget or the materials. It's about the idea. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how great architecture is really made. It's a journey from a single sentence to a solid form. And this right here, this is everything. This one idea is the key to the whole process. It totally flips the script on the common idea that architects just sit around dreaming up cool shapes. Nope. It starts with a purpose, with an intent. The shape, the form, that comes later. So, let's get into it. This is the first, and honestly, the most critical step. Before anyone even thinks about drawing a line, you've got to nail down the intent. This is the make or break moment, where a project either sets itself up for success or for failure. It's not about vague feelings, it's about building a solid foundation of thought. You see this all the time, right? A project starts with a word like heritage or sustainability. And those sound great, but what do you do with them? They're just topics. A strong concept, on the other hand, is a plan of attack. It's an action statement. It answers the one question that really matters. What is this building trying to do right here in this specific place? So your concept has to be a tool, not a poem. It needs to get down to business. It has to have a verb in it, an action, a relationship. And it can't be generic. It has to be about this place. And you've got to be able to say it in one single, clear sentence. If you can't say it clearly, you're never going to be able to build it clearly. Okay, so you've got your sentence. It's sharp, it's clear, now what? You can't just email that sentence to the construction crew, right? We have to turn that sentence into a set of real, operational tools that you can actually design with. Let's see how that works. We're going to follow this one example all the way through. Check it out. The building mediates between the dense urban fabric and the open landscape. See? It's specific. It describes a relationship, mediation, and it's totally tied to a place. This is a perfect concept to work with. Now, from that one simple sentence, look at all the good stuff we can pull out. These are our key words. But notice, they aren't just pretty words. They all suggest an action, a spatial idea. Words like transition, layering, threshold. You can almost feel what those mean in 3 dimensions. That's the whole point. And this is where it gets really cool. We take those keywords and translate them into architectural actions. Notice, we're still not talking about what the building looks like. We're talking about what the building does. So transition becomes a physical action, a gradual change in height. Layering becomes overlapping planes. This is the real engine of the design. And this is just such a huge point. The building shouldn't just be a picture of the idea, it has to be the idea. It's got to perform it. It's the difference between a sign that says bridge and an actual bridge that gets you across the river. The building has to be the bridge. All right, so after all that thinking, all that prep work, now we can finally start to talk about shapes. But you'll see, these shapes don't just pop out of nowhere. They are the direct, logical result of the actions we just set up. It's pure cause and effect. If the action is layering, what kind of shapes are you going to get? Well, you're going to get things like parallel walls, screens that create deep shadows, spaces that unfold one after another. The action itself tells you what to draw. And the same logic goes for our other words. If the action is fragmentation, you're not going to design one giant solid box, right? Of course not. The logical result is a building made of many smaller pieces that break down its overall size. The form is born directly from the verb. And here it is. This is the ultimate test, the big question you have to ask for every single line you draw. It's the filter that cuts out all the fluff. If you can take a wall out or remove a window and the core idea doesn't suffer, then that wall or that window should have never been there in the first place, period. So we have this strong internal logic for our building. But look, buildings don't just float in space. A great building has to have a conversation with its neighbors. And that means understanding the context on a much deeper level than just, oh, there's a nice view over there. You have to learn the grammar of a place. Every street, every city has one. What are the unspoken rules? The typical building heights, the rhythm of the windows, how buildings line up with the street. This isn't just about looks. It's the deep structure of a place. And this slide just nails the difference between faking it and really getting it. Imitation is easy. You just slap on some old-looking decorations. It's like wearing a cheap costume. A real dialogue is much smarter. It's about understanding that deep grammar, the rhythm, the proportions, and then speaking back to it in a modern language. All right, let's bring it all home. This is the final move, where the internal idea, our concept, gets combined with the external forces of the place, its context. This is where it all clicks. Because this is the goal. When your building's internal logic and the logic of the place around it start to support each other, they lock together. The idea and the reality reinforce one another, and the final building just feels right. It feels inevitable, like it couldn't have been any other way. So here it is, the whole journey laid out. It's not magic, it's a clear, disciplined process that takes you from one strong sentence, step by step, to a final, meaningful building. It's not about waiting for some flash of genius, it's a method for thinking with real purpose. And a building that's made this way, well, it speaks to you. Even if you have no idea what the original concept statement was, you can feel the logic. You can understand what it's trying to do, because the building is telling you its story through the way it's put together. So that's what I want you to take away from this. We've given you a new way to see the world. The next time you're walking around, don't just look at buildings as a collection of shapes. Try to read them, try to figure out the intent behind them. And ask yourself, what was the one clear, powerful sentence that got this whole thing started?